Hey guys, this is a follow-up from my last video about Xbox Live and PlayStation Network being down. PlayStation Network is still down 2 days later, so this is December 27th of 2014. And I've gotten plenty of comments and messages from friends and some people I don't even know saying that their Christmas was ruined by the lack of available PSN. People are complaining more about the PlayStation Network because it is several days now that it's been down, but there are people out there who are buying games like Little Big Planet 3. There was a day one update that fixed a major flaw and bug with the game that they can't download that update patch because PSN is down. So now they have a broken game that's just going to sit there and not work. The other issue is a lot of games that are online only. I myself am having issues with Destiny. Destiny doesn't want to connect because it requires a server, which is stupid. Let's see, what other things? I mean, part of the other issue, thank God Netflix will run without PSN, but most of the apps, like YouTube app and a bunch of other apps that are on the PlayStation 4, do not function unless PSN is active. And Sony really should consider an update in the future that will remove that requirement for these applications. If you don't need PlayStation Plus to have these, why require a sign-in with PSN? You're creating a big issue, especially since this isn't the first time PSN has been down. It was down for several months. A few years ago, I believe that was 2011. So right now, my PlayStation 4 is sitting there. I wanted to play some Call of Duty Ghosts. I had some new map packs that have been released since I was away. And the map packs are installed, but I really can't do anything. I've been playing against bots. But this really brings up the point that developers and publishers should really consider getting their shit together when it comes to quality assurance. These games are being released broken. They're being released to the point where they're almost unplayable unless you install updates. And this mentality of, okay, let's just hit this deadline. Let's say, okay, we're going to release a game on November 20th. There could be several weeks prior to that release day that they'll say, well, we found this major flaw with the game. We knew about it for a while, so let's just push a day one update. Master Chief Collection, for instance, they didn't want to include a second disc. Well, here's another point in case where, let's say, a major aspect of the Master Chief Collection required this download while people can't play it because Xbox Live was down on Christmas Day. PlayStation Network, if Sony decides, well, Blu-ray isn't cutting it anymore, so we would need to include a second disc for this game, then you're screwing your entire consumer base because now your network, your services are susceptible to DDoSing and, your consumer pays for it. The other issue I have with this is that why are these services paid for? With any other type of service, if you pay for it, you're usually comped for days that you do not have access. So I expect Sony to at least throw everybody a free month of service to make up for this because your services were down on one of the most important days of the year. Christmas Day is when most people get their consoles. It's when most people get their games. So your services being down on such an important day, you owe it to your consumers, especially the ones who have an active subscription with PlayStation Plus. You owe them at least a month's of free service, especially since it's been 3 days since the services have been up. I really think Sony and Microsoft need to get rid of the pay for online play, because these services are nowhere near as reliable, nor are they as up or guaranteed up as they should for a $60 a year price point. I work in the IT industry, and a lot of companies that we do business with have what's called an SLA, a service level agreement. And the SLA states that for no reason at all shall your services go down for more than X amount of time per year. And one of the services I have says that in any given year, the services shall not go down for more than 1 minute of combined time. And I know Microsoft and Sony could never, ever deliver an SLA. They could never promise it. They can't promise that their services won't be down because they're always down for maintenance. Let's say, for instance, you're a person who works pretty late in the day, and you get home and you happen to get home all the time during their maintenance window, you're screwed. So Sony and Microsoft, you guys owe something to your consumers. You owe just an apology of some sort. I'm not saying that you have to give people free games. That's not really going to solve anything because at the end of the day, the gamer just doesn't want this to happen again. The gamer wants some sort of guarantee that they're going to work on this and make their network less susceptible to DDoSing, which can happen. There are plenty of services out there which what they do is they track, they can monitor a DDoS when it's about to happen, when it's starting to spur up, and it can kind of just dynamically redirect the traffic. So that way your console will still be able to play online. I'm sure all the major websites out there have these kind of services in there. I know personally, for one of the companies I contract out to, I have them set up on a anti-DDoS service. So whenever someone pings the hell out of our server, or for instance, let's say we're selling a new product and all these people are rushing to the site to buy it, it will automatically redirect the excess flow to third-party caches. And that will allow your website to stay up and allow you to continue doing business. Sony, and Microsoft, they're such large companies, it really baffles me that they don't have some sort of system in place that kind of, combats this issue. One of the things I was thinking is Sony and Microsoft know the MAC addresses of all their consoles. So why don't they put some sort of filtering? Put a filter, because why is it that anyone's server or a computer or a laptop or a tablet or what have you, why are these devices able to DDoS the shit out of their services? If PlayStation Network is really designed for the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, PS Vita, and the PlayStation Portable, why is it that these devices aren't the exclusive? Why don't they have exclusive access to your network? Why is it that some sort of third-party device or what have you is able to flood your network with packets? It just doesn't make sense to me. There are systems in place. There is a way to prevent DDoSing. There is a way to prevent these things from happening, and Microsoft and Sony are not using them. If they are, they're flawed. They're not working. But I have a feeling that Sony, I don't know. I'm thinking that this could be one of two things. For one, with the Sony Pictures hack, one of the threats that was made was that if Sony had released the interview or allowed it to leak, that there would be hell to pay. That was one of the threats that was made, I believe it was a few weeks ago. So maybe it just so happens that Lizard Squad is pissing on Microsoft's parade, and the hackers who hacked Sony Pictures are pissed off at Sony for releasing the interview, because they did say that there would be a Christmas present for everyone. Maybe this is it. Maybe they are slamming or hacking Sony and trying to take down their network. Again, who knows? No one knows. And Sony isn't going to just come out and say, oh, yeah, well, it's because we released the interview. This is why gamers around the world can't play on PlayStation Network anymore. I have a feeling that that's it. Because, again, as I said, Lizard Squad really didn't give a shit about Sony because they were hacking Microsoft exclusively. So, I don't know. Sony has not made any sort of update. All they keep saying is the typical PR bullshit of, well, it's going to be okay, we're still working on it. No, you're not. Because if you were really working on it, it wouldn't take 3 days still offline. That would never happen. So Sony, whatever, you guys owe something to your consumers. Publishers, you guys need to get your act together, because you cannot keep on releasing games with the expectation that people will have to go online and download an update to fix a major flaw in the game on day one. That attitude, EA, Activision, Ubisoft, you three are the worst culprits of this shit, and you three need to make some sort of promise to your consumers. Make a promise that you will not deliver a half-assed game. Make a promise that you're not going to deliver a game that's broken out of the box. make a promise you're not going to deliver a game that requires consistent patching to fix. Now, I understand like a game like Call of Duty requires it because it's an online game, so people will find exploits, people will find things like that. But a single player game, shouldn't require huge updates just to fix a basic functionality of that game. And the game, I believe with Little Big Planet 3, it was a save file issue or like a user profile glitch of some sort. These are things that they should catch in QA. That's why you have a QA department. That's why you have people testing your game. They're supposed to help you find these damn bugs. And then, here, I guess we're going on a rant here, guys. They release beta software now, right? So they say, okay, here, you guys can all join in on the Battlefield 4 beta. Well, I tried that beta. It was a broken pile of shit. And I'm like, wait a second. This is what they're delivering as a beta, and in four weeks, they're going to be releasing the final game? Yeah, that game's going to function. And then sure enough, the game was unplayable, had tons of glitches, was just a broken pile of shit. But you would think that okay, we're going to have everyone beta test these games. We're going to release a Halo 5 multiplayer beta. Okay, so take the customer feedback and actually fix the shit before you release it. It just pisses me off, guys. This is what gaming has become. No longer can you just pop a disc into your console and just enjoy your game. You have to install it. You have to update it. You have to sign for additional services. You have to deal with promotional advertising in these games that try to get you to buy games within the game. It's just bullshit. Every time you go and you fire up Call of Duty Ghosts, what does it do? It tells you, message of the day, buy Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. I think these kind of tactics, it's just that they're treating customers like shit. And the consumer is going to get tired of it. And I'm telling you, the gaming crash has already begun. I can't tell you that, maybe 4 years ago, people were not as pissed off as they are today. I was one of the only angry people apparently on YouTube, and these people are now saying exactly what I was saying 4 years ago. The average Joe is now saying exactly what I said 4 years ago. And since we as gamers are starting to see the problem, I'm telling you, a lot of game studios will close in the next few years. A lot of game studios will suffer cutbacks. They will suffer a lot of loss in sales because their mentality is pissing us off. A $60 game should work out of the box. No excuses, no exceptions. Don't make excuses for developers and publishers saying, well, it's a very complex game, blah, 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 blah. No. The point of it is, it's my $60. If you want to earn my $60, you have to deliver a finished product. You have to deliver a product that works out of the box. You cannot lock me into these damn license agreements. You cannot force me to update these fucking games just to play them. And this is the thing. Us as gamers need to stop sucking all these damn publishers and developers off. Stop making excuses for them. They're the ones that make these dumb deadlines, and they're the ones that are creating the problem in the first place. If these publishers, back in the day, it was not unheard of to have a game being pushed back. It was quite the norm back then. I remember Jak 2. Jak 2 was pushed back. They did it because there was a problem with the game. They didn't want to release a broken game. Some developers and publishers out there did release broken games, and those games were rightfully, criticized for it. But now you have IGN, GameSpot. GameSpot's actually the least of the problem. But a lot of these online, review sites are ignoring technical issues with games as part of their review score. So even though that, like, for instance, Grand Theft Auto 5 got a perfect 10 again from them, and then they're like, yeah, the online functionality doesn't work half the time. There's tons of glitches with it a year later, and all the same problems are there. Oh, no, it's a masterpiece. It's a perfect 10. How the fuck is it a masterpiece when there are things that prevent the user from enjoying the game? These are problems. If you're experiencing consistent slowdown with a game and crashing and, graphical glitching, these things should be accounted for. A reviewer has the responsibility to say, okay, Well, Call of Duty is having tons of frame rate issues. You know, the game constantly says it's supposed to be 60 frames, but I'm seeing at times it 30 frames or lower. Okay, I'm going to knock my score one additional point for technical reasons. That's what they should do. But they don't do that. So it's just a colossal shit fest. And I'm telling you, this is just the beginning of a game crash. I guarantee it's going to happen. It's not going to be as drastic as the one back in the 80s. There is going to be plenty of survivors, but I think the traditional way that we view gaming is going to change dramatically. I don't really see a future with consoles. I really don't. They are just so behind the curve right after they're released. PCs have just boomed in recent years. PC hardware is on this huge incline of just, okay, let's just keep outdoing each other. There's constant competition where AMD and Nvidia are trying to outdo each other. So I don't know. I really don't know what the future will lie for these consoles, but I'm telling you, if they keep this shit up, gamers are just going to give up on it. They're going to give up on it. On PC, we don't have this problem. We can still play our games on PC. All the Call of Duty players on PC are enjoying their game. They were able to enjoy it on Christmas Day, whereas Xbox and PlayStation users could not. It's just the reality of it, guys. So let me know what you guys think about the state of gaming. Let me know what you guys think about what Sony should do. Should Sony give us a free month of service? Should Sony give us a game? What should Sony do to make it up to their consumers? And we are consumers. As I said, this is not a free service anymore. So I can't, back when the PlayStation Network went down in 2011, I could ignore it because it was a free service. To me, I was like, you know what? I have no right to complain because it's free. But now that I'm paying $60 a year, I have a right to complain. And so do you guys. So take care. Look out for future videos.